What's going on, guys? Welcome to the very first episode of The Lion's Den. My name is Jack, and helping me out with this very first episode is fellow Nerds Mirage creator JesseTiv. How you doing?
What's up, man? I'm feeling good. Loving the beta so far.
Good. Yep, dude, come on, man. I haven't even introduced what we're talking about yet, and you're already spoiling it. Come on, man. Help my brother out.
Sorry, brother.
As Jesse has alluded to, and if you haven't seen his previous video, which was the highlights of what we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be breaking down some bits and bobs of the Destiny 2 PC beta, which was released for everyone yesterday. And so far, oh my god, it has been pretty much everything I have been waiting for since the game was revealed however many months ago. How you feeling, Jess?
I'm feeling great, man. I played the PS4 beta as well, so this is much more of the same for me. I think it feels better on PC, and it's running really good. I have a mediocre system, so being able to run the game good and look that good just makes me happy, you know?
Oh, and it looks so damn good.
Looks great.
I was really worried, as I think anyone would be, with this being the first time Destiny's ever been on the PC platform, as to how well the version was going to be. A lot of this got kind of squashed for me when we found out that there's in fact a separate team working on an entirely separate version of Destiny 2 that is going to be the PC version. It's not like with what we see with like Call of Duty, where it's just a port of the console version to PC, which causes a lot of issues. This is like built from the ground up, Destiny 2 being built for PC, and it shows. You know, there's all the customization and the settings is there. The mouse support's fantastic. You know, yeah, the UI is very what you'd expect for like a console game, but it's not like annoying to navigate, and I think it's kind of like a non-issue, though I have seen some people saying that they don't like the UI. How do you feel so far about it, Jess?
Well, I love the UI, but I played Destiny 1 for 3 years, so it just feels like Destiny UI, you know?
Yeah, more
and, the PC port is really good. I think all the settings are there. I know that they subbed it out to a different company who is more familiar with making PC games.
Yeah.
Which I don't really have a problem with. I think it came out solid, and I think it just runs really great. It's really smooth. It looks great, and I'm just, feeling it, man.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even when running programs like Shadow Play or whatever you use to capture gameplay, I was noticing little to no impact on frame rates. Everything was still in like the high 90s into the hundreds of FPS for me personally. I have a little bit of a better computer compared to Jesse's, but you know, he also had no issue. If you guys saw his video yesterday, things came out crisp and it still looked good. And it really amazes me the level of detail that the game still has when you strip it down to its lowest settings. I've played Counter-Strike a lot for like the last 4 or 5 years, and it's kind of just become a habit at this point to play most of my games at the lowest possible settings for the sake of performance, because I'm way too competitive about everything. And so naturally I did the same thing with Destiny 2, and I was like, oh my god, this looks better than a lot of games on max settings. The game just has a stunning amount of detail, and it's just beautiful. It really is.
Yeah, I agree. I think the way the game looks, I think just has this perfect aesthetic, Destiny is a unique game, and the people that were complaining that it looks like Destiny 1 don't understand that Destiny has a certain look and feel and aesthetic, and I think they carried that over really nice to Destiny 2.
Yeah, and also the ambiance of all of the PvE missions and even the PvP Crucible maps, the sound design, the music is always on point. I mean, Destiny and Destiny 2 are probably the only legitimate games where I've considered purchasing soundtracks, because the music is just so well done. It's not often talked about, scores of video games, but it's just as important as the score of a movie, because it dictates a lot of the emotions you're supposed to feel at key points during your experience. And it's definitely there. The music's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's a well done cinematically wise game. Especially the voice actors. The 3 Vanguard guys, Cade 6, and the other 2's name I can never remember. I really and that kind of just makes the game and the world feel more real when you have great voice talent in the game.
Yeah. We're kind of stuck in this Half-Life 2 style of being the silent protagonist, and we experience the world around us through pretty much always this first-person perspective. And Destiny 2 is obviously bringing in a full cinematic campaign with cutscenes and voice acting and everything. But even then, I don't think that detracts from the immersion during single-player play, because one thing Destiny 1 always had, even though the story originally wasn't very well fleshed out, was just feeling like the characters were talking to you and interacting with you, and you weren't just experiencing the game as like this person kind of, you know, distended from what's going on. You felt like you were right there as the Guardian saving the day, and they've managed to keep that while also bringing the game up to par in terms of like the story components, which I think is fantastic and really hard to do.
Yeah, I agree. Let's actually talk about that first story mission for a second, because you are going over the story here. In Destiny 1, the thing that people complained about the most was the story. And I think the reason people were so upset about the story is because the game has such great potential. And I think this first mission kind of delivers on what you can expect from this campaign. And I actually really enjoyed the cinematic cutscenes, the way the game played, the way you're interacting with the story is really good. That's such a good intro to the game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's this full, all-out, you know, balls to the wall, cinematic, Michael Bay jizzing everywhere kind of spectacle of a first story mission. But you know, while that's kind of like, what's the word? It's played out, right? We've seen it so many times in so many different games. The fact that this is, so unique to the Destiny universe, I think makes it, quite a thing to witness. Especially because once you get past all the cutscenes and stuff, and you're playing the game, and you're next to all these NPCs who you're so used to being static, and now you're seeing like Zavala, the Vanguard Titan Master, picking up a rifle and firing next to you. I even encountered this while I was playing through on a different character, the first story mission again yesterday. Zavala died. Like, the NPC, like, I don't know if this is a bug. I'm gonna assume this was a bug, and I'll probably roll the clip right now. But that set piece we've seen since the game was revealed, where Zavala puts up his bubble from the missile barrage, for some reason he dropped his bubble early, and a missile came out of left field and just nuked him in the face, and I saw him get, like, zapped into nothing, and then his ghost respawned him. You get the sense, even though that probably wasn't intentional, that these NPCs are actual guardians just like you, because Zavala got murked and respawned and just got right back to it, which was really cool. I'm gonna go ahead and say it probably wasn't intentional. If it was, shout out to whoever thought that was a good idea, because it definitely is. So in the beta, we got the one story mission we've seen before from all the other media we've seen coming up to the beta. We also got the same Inverted Spire Strike.
Yep.
And yeah, it's more the same. It's nothing new. We've all seen the first story mission in the cinematics 1,000 times, but it's good to see it run on PC for yourself on your home systems and experience it firsthand instead of through like, a reaction video or the reveal trailer. So I mean, it's got the hype train going. I mean, I'm super excited for Destiny 2 to release. I'm definitely gonna be playing on the PC platform, and if nothing else, if you don't like what Destiny brings to the multiplayer game in terms of PvP, there's gonna be a crap ton of value for your $60 out of the single player and the co-op aspects for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the new patrol, the way the new patrol is set up, I mean, they sent out an hour of gameplay from a bunch of different sources on the European Dead Zone, where these guys are doing something for 90 minutes straight, hour and a half, 90 minutes straight, doing something, event, doing this kind of thing, doing this here, finding treasure maps and shit. Like, there's so much to do on the PvE side that I think some of the PvP only players like myself are going to be enticed so much by that we're going to get in on some of this PvE fun.
Yeah, but obviously, for people like me and Jesse, the bread and butter is going to be the Crucible, your PvP zone in Destiny. And if you've never played Destiny before, or maybe you didn't play much of the Crucible when you did in Destiny 1, it's very oh, excuse me. It's very unique. Thank you, bro. I'm glad that thanks, dude. Glad that I qualify for you. Fuck, you ruined me. The feel of Destiny 2's PvP is very unique, and it has some endemic issues, but it also has a pacing and a feel that, at least for me, has me coming back to it much in the same way that I would constantly come back to Counter-Strike. Jess, you're obviously much more familiar with it than I am. Jesse's first game, period, was Destiny 1, and he got so absorbed into Crucible, it's ridiculous. So I'm going to let you take over and break it down.
Yeah, I went through the terrible learning phase of trying to learn how to use a controller and play goddamn first-person shooters. So I went through that with Destiny, and I fell in love with the Crucible, and I played that game for 3 years. So about 2 years in, I was giving up on the game. It was dying. I think this was before Rise of Iron, so I was giving up on the game. I was playing other games, trying out Call of Duty and Battlefield and all the other kind of FPSs, right? And I always came back to Destiny because it has a unique feel. Like, it feels like nothing else. The gameplay is unique. The gunplay is fantastic. I think the time to kill in Destiny is extremely unique. And headshots matter, and positioning matters. And I just really love the Crucible, especially in Destiny. And I think Destiny 2 delivers on the same feeling with new guns and new balance. The balance in Destiny 1 was always terrible, yet I always loved it. And I think when the balance was at its worst, the game was at its best. And I hope that Destiny 2 kind of gets to a good balance where the Crucible is also really good, but the balance is good as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, during the PC beta right now, which really, if you haven't tried it or you were a console player and you haven't tried the PS4 beta when it came out, the game releases next week on the consoles. We still have to wait, like a month for the PC release?
But yeah, it's coming out in October.
Coming out in October. As far as what you get out of the PC beta right now, it's one map per mode. There's 2 modes. You got Control and Countdown. Control is a legacy mode from Destiny 1, and Countdown is the brand new competitive game mode in Destiny 2. And admittedly, haven't played a whole lot of it, but I've seen a ton of the gameplay before, and at least what we've seen out of this one market side map that we've all been playing since the game was originally announced, I'm really excited to see what they do with the other maps for Countdown. I really hope to see an exclusive set of maps for competitive and casual game modes. That way we don't have to worry about certain maps being good on Control, but not being good on Countdown, but not being good on Skirmish or whatever. I think that, it's worth the time and effort if you want Destiny 2 to be a competitive esport. But the way that these game modes play, everything's been crunched down to a 4v4 style game mode. Control has been pretty much entirely reworked than your traditional domination game modes of old. You spawn with 1 point capped each, and then it's just a bum rush for the middle or the other team's spawn. And man, Control was my favorite game mode out of Destiny 1 because I liked the 6v6 format, and I also was way too bad to play 3v3. And I think 4v4 is a really good compromise because it's still, there's enough people to where it doesn't feel barren, but there's not so many people that's like, what the fuck is going on? And I think Control plays out supremely well, especially compared to how it used to.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I hated Control. I hated 6v6 when Destiny 1 was around. I always played 3v3, Elimination, and Skirmish were my favorite modes too. So I think Bungie made a smart move here because the people who play the game the most are always going to be the Crucible players because PvE dries up eventually and you're waiting for more content. You can only replay the same thing over and over again, whereas in Crucible, you can have a unique experience almost every game, right? So I think condensing this to 4v4 and not really worrying about the 6v6 playlist because most of the PvE guys were the guys that were playing in the 6v6 playlist and the hardcore Crucible nerds were playing in the fucking 3v3 playlist. So I think it was smart to condense it down to 4v4 because the biggest complaint in Crucible for me was always that skirmish maps were way too big because they were made for 6v6 and not for 3v3. So I think making all of them 4v4 and having unique maps, and I do believe that Countdown and Control maps are not the same. I think they have pressed them out where Countdown maps are only for Countdown and Elimination, and Control maps only for Control and Clash, as far as I know.
Yeah. And, I think it caters to both sides, right? I think there was always the stigma that, if you were someone who grind a lot in raids and strikes and in the PvE side of the game, you wouldn't really want to go play and pick up Skirmish because everyone was literally sweating their ass off in the PvP center playing.
Yeah, hundreds of hours and only PvP,
So, when you condense these things and create that sense of familiarity across all the game modes, I'm bringing up Counter-Strike a lot because Counter-Strike has always done very similar things. Their core game modes have always been very similar and centralized across the whole game, so that there's not so much of a divide transitioning from one to the other. And Destiny 2 seems to be adopting a very similar model, and I think it works really well because now if I'm a PvE guy and I want to get into the Crucible because I got all this cool loot in the raid, I'm not going to feel as alienated and only stuck in these larger, more casual game modes. I may play a couple control games, get my feet wet a little bit, and then maybe I'll want to go play Countdown with my friends. I think all in all, it works really well. It makes the game like understandable for everyone, and from like an esports perspective, there's going to be competitive Destiny 2, which I'm sure there will be. You make the barrier of access a lot lower, and anytime you can have a thriving competitive scene in a multiplayer shooter, the better, because it's always going to foster people to watch, people to tune in, get interested, get excited, get hyped, and want to get involved themselves, and you have a more healthy and sustained player base that way. And Destiny 2 it's a simple game at heart. The mechanics, the gunplay, the interactions with other Guardians, it's all very simple, but it's really crisp. And it's really well tuned, even in this beta state. It was well tuned to Destiny 1, even though it was super broken at times. And I think they've refined the PvP system even better. Destiny 1 always had the bad stigma of camping for special weapons and power weapon ammo, or heavy weapon ammo. So that because those would change the tide of the game entirely. If you had no special and no heavy, you were going to lose. Straight up.
Every game you would lose.
But now that we have basically 2 primaries, and then you have a special power weapon, and the power ammo spawns regularly, but it's not like make or break if you get it or not. I think
it's about 4 times a game, I'm thinking.
Yeah, and it helps the flow. It feels like Destiny 1 didn't really have flow. It was like, get special, use your special, get heavy, use your heavy, wait for special, wait for heavy, and then kind of skirmish, but not really. Wait till you have your super. It was very like jagged in terms of the pace, and especially in like skirmish and Trials of Osiris. And I think now we're going to see a lot better flow, where people are going to be moving around the map more. They're going to be more enticed for skirmishing with primaries, and we're seeing that. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I think the balance is actually incredible. I think what they did here was so smart to move the snipers and shotguns to the power ammo slot. I think that was genius. I know all of us sniper lovers like myself out there were kind of bummed at first, but it's really easy to get power ammo. I was getting it 2 to 3 times a game. If you are playing the timer right, you can get power ammo when you want. And not to mention, you get to have great primary gunfights. We all clamored in Destiny 1 for primary gunfights. Now we got it. Grenades are trash. Melees are trash. Primary gunfights is going to win you games.
Well, so okay, whoa. They're not trash. Don't you be talking about my shoulder charge.
Grenades are trash.
Don't you be talking about my shoulder charge like that, okay?
Wait. It takes 3 melees to kill somebody.
Hey, 2 melees if you use a shoulder charge and you're not a bitch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's way toned down. It's way toned down.
You get 2 flashbangs. Flashbangs, dude. What are you talking about? Flashbangs are the best thing in the game.
Okay.
Get on my level.
Sure, man.
No, you're right. Destiny 1, again, it was, wait for your grenades, wait for your melee, go in, toss your grenades. Maybe you'd body shot with a sniper or chip him with a shotgun, going for the melee kill. Your primary was your backup. It wasn't even your primary. And that just always made things clunky and not necessarily satisfying. If you were someone who wanted to push with a hand cannon or a pulse rifle, you'd normally just get stomped. So they really unified the gameplay, and they made it, I would say it's simpler than Destiny 1, but also there's a higher skill ceiling, and it makes it more interesting to perfect. So Crucible's fantastic. I can't wait to see where it goes from here.
Wait, one more thing. What do you think the best gun in the beta is right now? Gun type. Hand cannon, AR, pulse rifle, scout rifle.
It's hard to say. I would say when we first started playing yesterday.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I would say that hand cannons definitely have an edge in close to medium range combat, but also at the same time, if you aren't hitting your shots, it doesn't matter one bit. People are gonna do good with certain weapons just kind of naturally. You're gonna have people who are really good with ARs and SMGs. You're gonna have people who are gods with scouts and hand cannons. And you're gonna have those inhuman piles of garbage that use pulse rifles. But they're there. Everyone's there. And I think that while hand cannons are gonna stand out as like the skill gun of choice, especially for like higher end PvP, probably, I don't think any one gun is going to have like that god tier status. Like Destiny 1, at many different times, there were several hand cannons that had like that god tier status where it was like a must use and you had to farm for this specific one. I don't think that's going to happen in Destiny 2, purely because a lot of the maps are set up very smartly. I will say, though, the Better Devil's hand cannon in Destiny 2's PC beta is ridiculous. It's really good.
It's getting toned down.
For sure. And, it needs to. Because if you have any kind of decent aim, it's 3 shots all day. And,
Well, here's what I would say to hand cannons, because I do see a lot of people complaining about hand cannons. And what I would say about hand cannons is it takes a certain type of playstyle to win with hand cannons. And there's a certain type of playstyle that shits all over hand cannons. And you'll see me when I'm playing this game switch off my double hand cannons to an AR because I'm getting just raped by pulse rifles and ARs. Because if you play back, you win. Every time. If you don't let me get in your face, you win. So I think hand cannons are really good if you're a super aggressive player and you're good at getting in people's face and closing distance. But if you are better at staying back, then ARs, pulse rifles, scout rifles, combined with some kind of sidearm or a sub, those are really good playstyles as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's that's exactly the point. And I think also a lot of this is coming out. We've had the beta in our hands for 2 days. One, if you didn't pre-order. So I don't think we've had enough time really to find out what's going to be the best. A lot of it's like really knee-jerk. Even then, I think my opinion is going to change over the next couple of days, and maybe we'll do a wrap-up at the end of the beta. Let us know in the comments down below if you want to see a wrap-up at the end of the beta, and we'll come back and we'll revisit the balance, in like a shorter video. All in all,
I agree.
Destiny 2, it's looking really great. It's something we've been excited about for many months. It's turned out to be everything that I've wanted. It runs good. It has everything that I need. The gameplay is fun and addicting. Yeah, it's frustrating at times, but all competitive games are. And all in all, I think it's going to be a really big success. I think there's a really big spot in the gaming space where Destiny 2 could slot in on the PC and be kind of this hybrid co-op / looter shooter with this really good kind of competitive PvP on the side. And up front for some players, it has its niche on the PC platform, and I think it's going to do really well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the PvE is going to be probably revolutionary, especially with this new fast travel thing that they got going on, making it way easier to participate in the patrol events. I think the story is going to be great. Can't wait to play more PvP. I'm going to be playing both on PS4 and on PC, so look for more gameplay from me on the channel as well.
Yep, and I'm going to be covering the game as well. I think I'm going to be taking it on myself to make some guides, give you my experience. I would like to, if this game does go down the path of being competitive, I want to see how far I can get up the ladder, because I think that there's potential here if you're good enough for this game to be like a potentially big esport. So it'd be cool to see what happens. All in all, guys, if you like Destiny 2, let us know in the comments down below. If you disagree with anything that we've said, let us know as well. We always love to open up to discussion. All opinions are valid here, unless you're wrong, in which case you are wrong. Just accept it. Other than that, guys, my name is Jack. This has been my co-host, JesseTiv. This has been the first episode of The Lion's Den. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to Nerd Surprise for more, follow all the crew on Twitter, and I will see you guys in the very next video. Take it easy.
Later.